Why are our seniors and upperclassmen not performing at our top tier level?
There's like a TikTok with a guy who's telling somebody that they don't want to fight. I believe it's an older, middle-aged white guy. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. And with all due respect to those gentlemen, again, to whom I wish well, I have no ill will for. I just think that some of them aren't those guys. And we've seen that, unfortunately. You know, like DJ Ivy is, I mean, a football Adonis at cornerback. 6'1", 190, 200 pounds, long arms, gotten a lot more muscular. He was, tall and lanky. But every time that you turn on the game, he's in the background of somebody else's highlight. You know what I mean? And I think that as you progress, you have to turn potential into performance, right? And for a lot of the upperclassmen, I think that they are who they are. And that leap, that bound, even those couple steps forward, I'm sorry to say, I just don't think it's in the cards for them, right? And I think that that's where changing this roster over, getting more talented guys, getting more productive guys, even if they're not super talented, right? And I know that people were pushing back when I was saying that Xavier Restrepo is the most productive wide receiver. He's not the most talented or best wide receiver. I would damn sure take a productive ass Xavier Restrepo on the field right now. You know what I mean? But if you can marry the talent and the production, if I get somebody who's more talented at that level of production, then I have a better player. What's the kid from, a more talented Xavier Restrepo by leaps and bounds? Josh Downs at Carolina, right? Same type of guy. Okay, Restrepo's maybe a little bit more muscular, but they play the slot. But Downs is more talented physically, athletically, and you see the production exponential, right? That's a direct comparison that you can take, right? And that's no shade to Xavier Restrepo because you need productive guys. But after a while, you are who you are. And I think that while, they might have been the guy in high school, they took a minor step forward and that's that. And maybe that's, maybe they have injuries behind the scenes. Maybe they were fighting with their girlfriend. Maybe, their grandma passed and the grandma raised them and whatever. Maybe they just really would be a better fit in a different system. Maybe, whatever. But I think that for a lot of the upperclassmen and seniors specifically that you're talking about, they are who they are, not who we once hoped they could eventually be. And realizing that is tough, and that's where, if I call a player out, like I've already mentioned a player on defense, I go to Corey Couch. I think that he's playing okay, but I was on the North Carolina blog today and I was reading, their stuff going to the game, and they have a lot more basketball content on there because Carolina, duh. But even on their game preview, the front picture is, to Corey Couch getting run by Josh Downs last year. I was looking at my Phil Steele's magazine. There's the same picture of Josh Downs in the foreground, leaving to Corey Couch in the background on the North Carolina pages, right? So eventually you are who you are, right? Oh, well, he's going to eventually become Honey Badger. Is he though? This linebacker who's, he's going to be Ray Lewis. He's going to be, Nate Webster. He's going to be Dan Morgan. Is he though? Right? Because when you have a long time horizon, right, then the potential to improve is greater. I would definitely think that Wesley Basainth at linebacker has a higher potential for development than, even who was the 4-star in the year before that? Chase Smith, who was an athlete and moved around, right? Still a 4-star guy. I know y'all were thinking I was going to say Corey Flagg. No. I'm not. I'm going to leave it at a peer level recruit, right? 4-star athletic. I would think, being a true freshman versus being a sophomore or redshirt sophomore, even, that the room for growth, the potential, is higher for Besainth because the time horizon is longer, right? It's just one of those things. And eventually, yeah, I mean, you do what you can and you want what you want, but some of those guys just aren't those guys. And I don't know if it's a disconnect, is that ineffable quality of just, greatness, in any kind of, and just, I mean, even development in any kind of area, it takes time. And, sometimes you get flashes, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes, hey, we're going to go pro in something other than sports, it's like playing French horn. Like, French horn is a developmental instrument. You can literally some days use your technique and play certain notes. And while you're developing, use your same technique the same way the next day, and you cannot play that note. Right? So it's like, hey, I'm working on this skill. I'm working on outside zone. I'm working on my down block. I'm working on whatever. And I can do it the one day, but I can't. And that's the nature of development. But sometimes it's I can and I can't. Or it's like, well, no, it all came together for me perfectly that one time. And that one time was the one time that I could do that. That's outside of my skill set. And I think that we're seeing that with a lot of guys. So yeah, it's really just the fact of I think that we have to come to terms with, especially older players on the roster, are who they are, not who we once thought they could eventually potentially be.
For you folks, 3 or 4 in the chat saying Josh Downs is garbage or trash. My goodness. Right. You're either just the ultimate Miami fan and you just want to troll to just, push buttons and, poke the bear. I get it. But if you're serious, man, 101 catches last year, 1,335 yards, 8 touchdowns. I hope you're not evaluated at your job, your employment to that degree.
And on the flip side, and I love this talking point, I'm stealing from Bud Elliott, because when he was at SB Nation, we would always have these conversations. What's the trade for Josh Downs for Miami? So if you're getting Josh Downs, what are you willing to part with? For me, on this roster, a lot. And I mean, I might even throw in a unnamed blue chip recruit, to be named for the future. Like, I mean, for that guy on this team, there's a limit to what I would trade, but it would be what, 4 for 1 plus a recruit? Just off, I mean, three for 1. So us giving up 3 players off the roster for 1 Josh Downs, and we would give up a recruit to be named later. Like, if you're Carolina, do you take that? Depending on who the players are. And you know what I mean? Like, that's the imbalance there. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm fully on the 3 or 4 players and a recruit to be named later for what it would take to get Josh Downs, because, like, again, you're just elevating everything. And I mean, look, that would hopefully be when, Robbie Washington and Ray Joseph get on campus, they will be players along that line, but also they're both 5'9", so you need taller wide receivers. But I mean, yeah, Josh Downs, yeah, not trash at all. Would trade multiple guys off this roster for tonight.
Just gave me a great idea, which would be have a fan forum chat room where college football fans propose trades.
Yeah.
And the trade doesn't go through unless you got somebody to accept it. You're a Miami guy, you're looking for a trade, you talk to the NC State guy and you talk to the Oklahoma guy, and you just figure out what's going to work for both of you, trying to upgrade your teams.
Years and years ago, I wanted to trade for Eddie Vanderdoes from UCLA, defensive tackle. And I think I gave up. It was 1 for 1 with a recruit, or 2 for 1. I want to say, like 2 off the roster for him. But Like, yeah, like those, I mean, but yeah, just even as a thought exercise, you know, you can see the value there, especially with the dearth of talent and production in Miami's receiver room. But again, everybody today in the media availabilities and everybody this week, the receivers are better. They're helping talent around. We're doing everything. We're not dropping passes. We're blocking really great. You know, so we're creating room for the running backs. The running backs are healthy and Cool, fine, great. Show me on Saturday.